he's hired by AIP to start making these Poe movies and wonderful films. This is My Dad in Rome, where he's filming Last Man on Earth. And while in Rome, as I shared with you yesterday, my mom started to get these cravings for Chinese food, and I was in cravings for Chinese food. So I came along, big surprise. But it's the height of my dad's career. He is making incredible movies, and he knows how lucky he is. Huge fan of Edgar Allan Poe, so he makes The Pit and the Pendulum, House of Usher, which is, I think, one of my favorites. But fun ones, too, where he gets to use his comedy, right? So, and gets to work with people he loves. Boris and Basil and Peter Lorre. I mean, you know, what an incredible gift for these guys in their 50s and 60s and 70s to be making these movies, and audiences are going to them. I mean, he knew how fortunate he was. Master of Red Death with the incredible cinematography by Nick Lowe. And then I think one of his most malevolent performances, which was a very difficult shoot for my dad. It was a young director who wanted my dad to not sort of fall into his kind of Uncle Benny character, and they did not get along well at all, but my dad really showed up every day, and I think turned in one of his best and scariest, for sure, performances. So, you guys have heard that I'm not a big horror fan, and the reason why is that I was traumatized at an early age. I was taken to see my dad play Captain Hook in Peter Pan, and you would thought that would have been fine, right? You know, kids play. I saw my dad with the hook and I freaked out. I mean, like, freaked out. And apparently I wouldn't shut up, and my mother's got this, you know, she's British, we don't want to talk about emotions, and I wouldn't shut up. So they had to take me backstage during intermission so I could see my dad was still my dad. And what I love about this sequence is that clearly my mother was not too concerned about my mental health, because while I was freaking out, she was shooting these photographs. So that is one unhealthy child. So I have my entire childhood trauma captured in photographs. My dad is left to comfort me. He's trying his best. Look, that's still me. I'm just wearing a weird hat. And he's showing it's like, it's your finger. It's like my hook. It's not a big deal. He's feeding me, so things get a little better. So we got a wan smile there. And finally, I end up playing with the hook, and it's all good, right? But what they learned from that was I was not the child who should be shown any horror movies. So I didn't see any of them. I saw a lot of the fun things like Batman and Mod Squad and Brady Bunch and all of those things, but the horror movies I did not see. So the dad that I knew was the dad who was the art collector, and I shared with a lot of you that my dad bought art for Sears Roebuck. Sears had hired him to, well, wanted him to be a spokesman for their art collection. Instead, he went around and he bought 20,000 pieces of art for Sears. And you could buy all of these incredible works of art from Sears on your Sears credit card with a money-back guarantee. And out of that experience from Sears, working with the Sears executives, came this cookbook. And the cookbook was really about them having this appetite for life and this desire to explore the world and savor their experiences and celebrate it with their friends. And so that's really what the cookbook was about. It wasn't about having some elitistic food snob approach to food. Yes, we have the fancy restaurants like the Tour d'Argent, but we also have Dodger Stadium and Dodger Dogs. And this cookbook sold 300,000 copies, and it became this hugely famous cookbook. But for me, he's my dad, right? So we had so much fun. We got to travel by train, by RV, go all over the country. And at home, I got to do all the things that kids get to do, right? Serve my dad breakfast in bed for Father's Day, pick out my own little kind of tiny Christmas tree. But these are some of my favorite pictures of my dad with my friends. And the picture on the left is one of my favorites. It's my dad at one of my birthday parties at Disneyland. And he is having way more fun. Roll over a little?
I think since we started about 5 or 6 minutes late.
Okay. So the picture on the right is Halloween. And people often ask what my life was like on Halloween. So it was not my favorite holiday because my mother was a costume designer. So I would say, I want to be like a cowboy or a black cat or whatever, and I would end up being